Welcome back to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show. Today we're diving into chapters 4 through 6 of Prisoner of Azkaban. Azkaban, tomato. 3 chapters that quietly shift the series from childhood adventure into something far deeper and darker. I'm calling this trio The Darkness Arrives. Not because it's all grim, but because it's where the shadows first start to move under Hogwarts light. You can already tell in the book that the chapters are having a bit more substance. The series is growing up with the reader, and the reader is starting to get to live a little bit more in the world they've become familiar with over the course of the first 2 books and the beginning of this one. It's a transition into a darker period for Harry, and I will say that every book kind of does add a little bit more layered darkness to it. I won't say where the big change happens. However, I've said this before, chapters 1 through 3, they're like a trilogy in a sense. Chapter 4 is a bridge book. It's huge. It's got a big story, seemingly outside of the main narrative with Voldemort. And, the last 3, in my opinion, are probably the final trilogy that is bridged by the Goblet of Fire. In all, nobody's said this. This is just truly a 7-series book, but I kind of like to look at it in that way, through a different lens, to capture the story, to kind of see where the beats hold, to maybe even consider the idea that J.K. Rowling had some, intention in making that a thing. Because we grow up with Harry, and the world changes as Harry grows up. And honestly, it's not just because he's growing up. It's just in time. So let's start with none other than Chapter 4, The Leaky Cauldron. Harry's just had one of the most surreal nights of his life. He's run away. He blew up his aunt. In the last episode, I don't think I mentioned, in the movie, she goes into the sky outside of the house and they lose her. In the book, she just is stuck in the house up against the ceiling. So a little bit more dramatic in the movie. I don't like to compare them, but I think it's actually kind of fun to compare them for memory. What stands out in my memory? Like, I totally expected Aunt Marge to fly away like a balloon into the sky in this book. However, there's that slight calm difference. And it doesn't make too much of a difference except for the fact that I'd like to imagine wizards having to take care of that situation of her just like way up in the sky as a balloon and then taking out her memory. Before I get into this chapter, I also just had this idea. It's like, what if there's a story in the future about the wizarding world completely being revealed by one evil wizard, counteracting memory spells and trying to wake up the world of the muggles to what's really going on right under their noses. This is completely off topic, but this is the type of way I rant on Marvel Maniac a lot. And it's been something on my mind. I was like, well, where can I put this? Where can I talk about this? You know what? I'm just going to put it in the show. Maybe future story, or maybe that happens in the Fantastic Beasts movies. I haven't seen all of them. I think there's a Dumbledore show on HBO too. I haven't heard much about. I don't know how much those are seriously praised. Right now, I'm really just focused on the books. But the world is very interesting in how they keep their secrets, yet they are in such a situation with Sirius Black that they do have a way to let the Muggle community know that there's a dangerous man and to stay away from him. So that's pretty interesting to me, pretty intriguing. I think it's meant to be in the background as a very interesting part of the world that we don't know and we're not meant to know. However, it could be something that if Rowling wants to return to the world in book form for an older Harry story or whatever it might be, that could be a really fun premise. But I'm not the writer here. That's J.K. Rowling's job. I'm just analyzing and thinking, and this episode did get me thinking that. You know what I mean? It's a calm so rare in this chapter, The Leaky Cauldron. It almost feels a little bit out of place. Sometimes breaking the rules pays off. Because Harry finally gets a little bit of downtime. 2 weeks. Mornings with pancakes instead of panic. Afternoons wandering Diagon Alley. Stopping at Flourish and Blotts just to breathe in the smell of magic. I don't know how many times in the book Harry gets this moment of peace. He doesn't know fully what Sirius Black is about yet, and all he knows is he's waiting for his friends and that he's not in trouble for doing what he did with his aunt. He doesn't know why, but that doesn't seem to cross his mind too much when he's in peace at the Leaky Cauldron. It must just feel incredible for him to be free in his own world, not trapped under the Dursleys' roof, under their rules, under their tyranny. It's almost like the Dursleys are a little bit jealous of the extraordinary life he gets to live, and that lack of understanding turns into anger. He's living in that little room above the pub in the Leaky Cauldron, with the sound of laughter and clinking glasses downstairs. He knows he's finally safe, just for a bit. For once, Harry isn't escaping straight to Hogwarts. He's escaping his horrible family. And afterwards, he's escaping to Hogwarts. So, I mean, when I say escaping in general, he's escaping the Dursleys. The Dursleys probably could be affecting Harry a lot more if Harry didn't think he was going to get to go back to school, which is something that they could try to put over Harry's head, the Dursleys. But we know from the very first book, all those letters start coming. If you start holding Harry Potter hostage and not let him fulfill his destiny, the wizarding world, most likely McGonagall and Dumbledore, putting extreme pressure on them to let him go. I don't think they'll ever be able to hold him back. But Harry needs providers and people outside of school during the summers when he can't be there. But it's not like Hagrid's at the school, and I know he's probably not super trusted to be like a parent figure, but does Dumbledore go on vacation or something? Like, what happens during the summer at Hogwarts? Very interesting to think about. And why can't Harry just stay at the grounds of Hogwarts in his room, a special treatment? If the students see or know about any type of special treatment from Hogwarts to Harry, it could really have a negative effect on how students view him, and especially after last year with the whole Chamber of Secrets incident. No matter which way you look at it, Harry was a part of it. But the rumors get completely turned on their head, and what happened between Harry and Tom Riddle is most likely fact rather than mystery, because Dumbledore bear witness and Dumbledore speaks the truth. But back to this 2-week period of Harry getting to live right outside in the Leaky Cauldron and outside in the backyard of Diagon Alley. He gets to recalibrate, take his time looking at the shops, fall asleep knowing he's going home soon. His home. And this time, he'll be riding the Hogwarts Express. Like I said earlier, very exciting for a first-time reader, or honestly, anyone who's reading through the series again. There's something quietly nostalgic about the Hogwarts Express. We haven't really even seen the train since Sorcerer's Stone, and Rowling brings it back like an old friend waiting at the platform. I love that. This chapter is also our first peek at Crookshanks. He's on our cover. He is our animal of the series. I figured putting Buckbeak on the cover of the art would have been like, it could have been funny of having him take over the entire desk, but I didn't want to put a mini Buckbeak. I do wish I put a Scabbers in the art of the Magic Muggle Season 3, aka Prisoner of Azkaban season. We do change our art every book, so if you have any suggestions for the Goblet of Fire's cover art, the desk, the ever-changing magical desk, email me at magicmugglepod@gmail.com, and I would really love to hear your take on that. So Hermione gets Crookshanks, and this cat has a squished face and lion-like fluff, and he earns a spot right in our cover art this season just because Crookshanks and the rivalry between Crookshanks messing with Scabbers and causing a little bit of mischief gets Ron so upset. He might seem like comic relief, but there's something instinctual about that cat. Even now, he's already locked into Scabbers, who's looking a little worse for wear. Speaking of Scabbers, the guy at the magical menagerie, I don't know how to say that, mentions that rats like him usually live only about 3 years. A tiny throwaway line, but one that quietly ticks like a clock in the background, similar to the sneakoscope. Let's move in Chapter 5, The Dementor. This chapter opens soft, rain tapping against the train windows, sweets passed around, laughter filling the compartment. Rowling lets the cozy linger before she shuts off the lights. That's where we meet Professor Lupin. He's asleep, well, half asleep, looking like he's recovering from what I'd like to call a roaring night before. A gentle nod for readers who know what's coming, but to new eyes, he's just a mystery wrapped in kindness. I do suspect that Lupin isn't fully asleep the whole time, at least, while Harry, Ron, and Hermione are having a very personal conversation and revealing conversation directly in front of the man. This is one of the longest train chapters in the whole series, and it earns every minute. Harry, Ron, and Hermione catch up. We settle into the rhythm of the new school year, but then the cold comes. The train stops and the lamps go out. That creeping dread, that's where Azkaban truly begins. When the Dementor enters, Rowling describes fear like it's weather. Your breath fogs, your stomach drops, the air thickens. This is trauma personified. And Lupin, quiet, calm, and deliberate, stands up and drives it away with a flash of warmth and chocolate. It's such a simple image, but one that defines him. You know, Harry feels cold on the inside. He passes out, which he gets mocked for plenty of times by Malfoy, who we do find out was completely terrified himself on his end when the Dementors were checking his side of the train. This is slightly the moment that childhood kind of ends for Harry Potter. Fear isn't abstract anymore. It's physical, cold, and it wants its joy. And another thing, these Dementors aren't going anywhere. They're going to be guarding the Hogwarts grounds all year until Sirius Black is caught. Moving into Chapter 6, Talons and Tea Leaves. Harry is finally home. The castle feels familiar now. The same bed, same view, same heartbeats of safety echoing through the walls. Hogwarts isn't a mystery anymore. It's refuge. Still, Rowling keeps the magic fresh. The kids get lost, finding Trelawney's, Professor Trelawney's, it's hard to say her name a bit, finding their classroom, and the portrait comes alive with this little gallant knight, which I just love. A little detail I'd like to see in the show that probably isn't in the movie. He's charging down hallways, sword drawn, shouting directions like he's late for battle. He gets them to the class. Just little moments like this is what makes Harry Potter amazing. The details, the essence of talking to a magical picture with a little knight guiding your way to a place you need to get. It's as magical as you can imagine. That's my favorite kind of Hogwarts humor. Whimsical chaos with purpose. The knight fulfilled his quest that day. Then we meet Professor Trelawney, who instantly predicts Harry's death. Yikes. McGonagall later tells us that she does this every year and no kid has died since. But there's truth tucked into her act, because even in the first class, a student's class, Neville Longbottom, breaks exactly as she predicted. The universe is winking at us, saying maybe she's not entirely a fraud. Maybe she sees some of the picture. But Harry's death is just very untimely, knowing where he is with the Dementors and the suspicion of Sirius Black. Because back to the Leaky Cauldron, something I kind of missed setting up, but also didn't want to put too much focus on. It's a big deal. Harry finds out from the Weasleys secondhand that Sirius Black might be after him. That's what he is doing. He's saying in his sleep, he finds out he's at Hogwarts, and now he is completely gone, out of sight. Nobody can find him, not a muggle, not a wizard. And Harry learns through Mr. Weasley that, and they're arguing about letting Harry know, this is back at the Leaky Cauldron before the Hogwarts Express, that Sirius Black is after him. And Harry takes it kind of like a little less surprised than I think anyone would expect. It is something to be very interesting, but he believes the story of him killing 13 people at once, 1 muggle and 12 wizards. And yikes. Vice versa, 1 wizard and 12 muggles. So it's very interesting, and I think Harry is cautiously optimistic, but as he even says, Harry thinks the safest place, and knows in his heart, is wherever Albus Dumbledore is. And back to the Trelawney class, Hermione just hates it, of course. It's logic versus mysticism. And even though she's popping in and out of impossible schedules somehow, we're not supposed to notice much yet. But for first-time readers, it's just one of those quirks Rowling tosses in. For the rest of us, it's a brilliant breadcrumb trail. In Harry's tea leaves, he gets the Grim, which is very, very scary, and another reason why McGonagall was trying to calm them down because of Harry's death. Although it is revealed to Ron that the creature we saw in chapter 2 or 3, when Harry was getting on the night bus right before it, he sees something coming out of the dark very slowly. We don't know what it is. I completely thought it was a Dementor, but we do find out with conversation from Harry and Ron, it was a black, grim type dog/wolf. That's a huge deal, and I'm surprised that I even missed that. That's how good these books are. You can take a couple years and completely forget extremely awesome plot points like that. Continuing into the finale of this awesomely big chapter, as the chapters are bigger, more story in them, it comes one of those scenes that remind us why Hogwarts still feels alive. Hagrid's very first care of magical creatures lesson. I'm assuming after he was proved innocent, Dumbledore wanted to give Hagrid some sort of, gratitude, and to show Hagrid that he is completely cared about and probably very sorry that he didn't get to finish his time at Hogwarts. He gets to be a teacher, knowing what he knows best: magical creatures. Now, Hagrid, being Hagrid, is a little bit offbeat and introduces the class to some things that, well, let's just say, aren't very safe at the very beginning. He mentions later he should have started with something smaller and built up to this, but wanted a very powerful first lesson. Also, these monster books that Hagrid has been making all the kids get, they're trying to eat the kids, so everyone has to shut them closed with belt buckles and rope and whatnot. I find that hilarious. And Hagrid just says, all you got to do is pet the spine of the book. And you do, and the book opens right up. It's a little magical trick. They should send a note to the shopkeeper. The poor shopkeeper who was selling these books was terrified of grabbing them. And I think that's actually pretty hilarious. The shop owner also said he was never stocking these books again. The class gathers around the padlock in Hagrid's hut, and Hagrid, heart practically glowing, so proud, unveils the hippogriffs. Half horse, half eagle, all altitude. It's equal parts wonder and danger. When he tells them to bow and wait for the bow back, Harry steps first, steady, respectful, and brave. And another big thing Hagrid said: don't mock, make fun of, or talk badly about the hippogriffs. They're very smart creatures. The air holds for a second, and the creature's eye fixed on Harry, and then Buckbeak dips his beak in the last second possible as Harry starts to back away. And he bows back to Harry in reply. The whole class exhales and, almost cheers Harry on about this. And then Harry flies, gets on the back of Buckbeak and flies. That rush of feathers and wind soaring above the lake is pure freedom. However, for Harry, he's a little scared. It's not like a broom. He feels on the sides of his legs the tails hitting him. So there's this moment of feeling like he might fall off of the thing. So he's a little scared, but all in the good fun of the cover of the book, we get to see him flying Buckbeak as well. And where does that scene come from? Is that the scene right here, or is that a later scene? I don't know. Maybe I do know, but I don't. The awe of Buckbeak's flight, Harry's landing, and the just victory of that doesn't last long enough. As the whole class is taking their turns with their hippogriffs, Malfoy gets actual Buckbeak, the same one that Harry rode, and his jealousy turns into recklessness. He taunts Buckbeak. That's ignoring Hagrid's warnings, and he earns himself a deep, bloody gash across his arm. Yikes. The class goes from laughter to panic. In seconds, it's a turning point. Hagrid's dream lesson collapsing into chaos, and the first taste of how quickly joy in this world can twist into consequence. What will Lucius do, Draco's father, to Hagrid? Will he get him fired right away? Does he get the benefit of the doubt that Draco didn't listen? And will Harry and Ron and Hermione stick with Hagrid and be able to convince whatever Hagrid's punishment may be to not exist and just put it on Malfoy because he did mess up? However, Hagrid shouldn't have started with these creatures, in my opinion. The end of the chapter serves as a nod to how serious it is that they can't leave the grounds at night. I mean, leave the castle to the grounds at night. But the sunset was just starting, so they went to go see if Hagrid was okay, and he was wasted. And they have a nice moment with him. But when Hagrid starts to go outside, he freaks out on them because he's going to get in more trouble by housing these kids after dark, where they're not supposed to be. The Dementors know this, so he rushes them back to the practice, scolding them, saying, never come out here at night again, pretty much. And that's where our chapter ends. Eventful, and yet somehow I squished it down to about the same time most of our episodes are. I think most of these chapters are a lot of living in the moment with the characters, getting to breathe with them. I love reading this book. I mean, it is finally that time in the series where things start to feel nostalgic already, because we keep coming back year after year. Year 3, that's a big step. In these 3 chapters, Rowling takes Harry and us from freedom to fear to fallout. He's not a boy hiding under the stairs anymore. He's a young wizard with a past chasing him, friends beside him, and a darkness that's just stepped into view. Lupin's words echo as the perfect close. Eat this, it'll help. Chocolate that cures Harry and anyone else scared of the Dementors and warms him inside. Because that's what the book does. It feeds the part of us that are scared, reminding us that warmth and light still exist even when the train and the cold rolls in. Thank you for listening. Today, I want to say that we have a Patreon in the description. If you go to this Patreon, I said to go to it last week, you'll notice it's for a different series called Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. That's my longer running Marvel podcast. We're going to be making some really big changes, and I'm going to be telling you this here first so you can get in there. You don't have to pay to become a member. We get 5-minute mini-sodes every Saturday, 5 a.m., and I unvault an older mini-sode every week as I upload a new one. So there's always something new for you to discover there if you can't pay or support the show. We're going to be combining the Patreon into a Honest HQ, we're going to call it. It's going to be for Harry Potter, Magic Muggle, and the Harry Potter After Show, and as well, Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. I don't want to clutter it. At the same time, there will be specific, amazing content for both shows you'll be able to get. We're going to add a fair share of Harry Potter to it. It's still under construction. Get in now. So you can see and be surprised by what we do to incorporate Harry along with the Marvel Maniac world. And don't feel like you have to do this, but don't be hesitant to do it, because if you don't like Marvel, that's okay. We're going to have Harry Potter exclusive content as well. I'm still working out the details. However, I want you to know that in the link tree, in the description, you can go there and just sign up now, or just become a free member and just be ready for content and excitement and extra material and building a community. I love doing these podcasts. It's my dream to be doing them, and to have you here, it just means the absolute world. I want you to rate the show if you can, anywhere you're listening. This is a call to action. I need the reviews. I need the algorithm, and only you can help. So give this show a 5-star rating and a little bit of a review that could be featured on the show. You most likely will, unless you ask otherwise. So that's about it for today. Thank you so much for listening to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter After Show. This has been your host, Eric Sequeira, aka Mr. Honest. And until next time, wands down, hearts full.